Okay, so I totally messed up saying yesterday's chapters. So this is for real chapters 36 through 40 of Lock the Doors Amy section. Yesterday's video was 31 through 35 of Lock the Doors Amy section. I just mixed up the video titles. This is 36 through 40 Amy section. Whatever the title of the video says is always correct, so always go by that. Anyway, chapter 36. Dad is standing in the hallway, blood all over his face and an eye that looks like an oil spill. "What happened?" I asked, and he shakes his head. "It's okay, Amy, I'm all right." But he's not. He needs to go to the hospital or call the police, but all the things normal people do in emergencies are dangerous for us. Instead, he goes to the bathroom and holds cotton balls on his cuts and tries not to cry. "Please, Dad, who did this?" "I don't know. They took my phone and my wallet." "Fuck," I whisper, but Dad doesn't notice because he's a mess. "Can I help?" He shakes his head and winces, and I touch his shoulder and say, "Do you need a doctor?" "I'll be fine. It's just a few cuts and bruises." But it's not, because when he tries to sit in a chair, he holds his ribs and moans, and he doesn't stand up unless he has to. He stays silent until Mom comes home, and when she sees him, she says, "What happened to you?" He stares at her for ages. "I was mugged." "Mugged in the middle of the day," she says. "I thought this was a safe neighborhood." They're playing a game that I don't understand because I can see it in their eyes. They're saying things with their silences and their stares, and it feels like I'm walking in halfway through an argument. I want to scream at her. "Why aren't you helping him? Why don't you care?" But I keep quiet and watch her and wait. They're like boxers, sizing each other up, and I squeeze Dad's hand because I picked my corner. He squeezes back, and I know we could take her if we were strong enough, but Dad isn't strong on a good day. He used to be, but not anymore. Mom goes down to the kitchen and comes back with antiseptic cream and bandages. "Here," she says, "this will help." Dad takes it from her, but he looks suspicious, like it's a trap. "You should go to your room," Mom says. She's not looking at me, but I stand and walk out. Mom whispers at first because she knows I'm listening. Then her voice gets louder, and I think she wants me to hear. "I'm sorry this had to happen, but I told you there'd be consequences," she says. I can see Dad's face through the crack in the door, and he looks betrayed, even though he should know better by now. "What did you tell him?" Dad mumbles. "I think you know. You're sick. Do you know that? I'm your husband. And I'm your wife. But you were willing to take him from me. All you had to do was love him." I don't understand what's happening. Who is Dad talking about? Was he mugged, or did something else happen? And who is him? "So you told Amy it was a mugging," Mom says. "What else could I tell her? That I knew the man who did this to me? That he accused me of..." Dad's face looks like it's going to shatter. I can only see a slice of it through the door, but it's enough to know something's horribly wrong. He can't finish the sentence because he's sobbing, and I want to run to him. But I need to watch this play out. "What did you tell him?" Dad asks. "I didn't tell him anything. It was an anonymous little birdie that told Simon Wells his daughter was getting friendly with a man who should know better." Simon Wells, I know that name. He's Pippa and Evie's dad. He owns the garage, and Mom flirts with him when the car has its emission checks. What does Mom mean that about one of them getting friendly with a man who should know better? Is Dad that man? "I would never," he whispers. "But he doesn't know that, and seeing what he did to you, I'm assuming you didn't get the chance to deny it." "Why?" Dad says. "What do you get from making up lies about me and an 18-year-old? Is that the kind of husband you want people to think I am?" The bathroom is quiet for a while. All I can hear is my father's frantic breathing. Then Mom clears her throat and says, "I don't care what they think you are, Chris, but you should. Because if I want to, I can ruin you. I can spread rumors about half the girls in the village. For now, it's just one, and I'm assuming after today's incident that Mr. Wells won't want the police involved. But others don't react with their fists. That's why I picked him. I know he'd punch first and think later. Evie is probably telling him right now that it's made up. But enough people hear a lie, it starts sounding like the truth. If you ever threaten to break up this family again, I will make sure you are the only one who suffers." 37. Logan sits by the window as the sound of the night ripples through his room. I stand on the landing and think of all the times there was a locked door between us. He knows I'm here, but he doesn't turn around and I don't speak. Instead, I watch him and hope he's okay. No one in this house is happy. Okay is the best we can hope for. Once I asked Logan why he keeps his window open even when it's cold. He looked at me for a long time and I saw so many things flash behind his eyes. Then finally he said, It helps. Later, he sits between Mom and Dad on the sofa, and if you were watching, you'd think they were normal, but they're not. My mother is the closest to happy. She got what she wanted, even if she knows it's a lie. But Dad and Logan's smiles are fake. My make-believe brother got lost in the game, and my father has been scared into submission. That leaves me, watching and wondering how it all got so monumentally fucked. I still dream about Will, and sometimes he's laughing, but mostly he's dead. His wet, lifeless body weighs me down, and I can't push him off. The more I try, the heavier he feels, until eventually, with all I have, I force him off with a scream that must wake the whole house. No one comes to me to ask if I'm all right. The locks have gone, but we all stay in our rooms and silently wait for morning. I write a note to my brother every single night and tuck it under my pillow, and the next day I fold it twice and put it in a box under my bed. They all say the same thing with different words, which is that I miss him and I hate this and I'm sorry. If Mom ever found them, she'd flip because it's evidence. It's saying out loud what we wrapped up in layers of silence and tuck in the farthest corners of our mind. But she won't find it because she doesn't come in here. She doesn't tidy my room or sit on my bed or tuck me in like she used to. Sometimes she stands by the door, but that's it. After what happened to Dad, I'm not brave enough to see what she'd do to me. That's why I speak to Will through pen strokes and doodles. And it's why I hope that, unlike the Tooth Fairy, he sees what I write in the notes I sleep on. 38. Logan doesn't whisper through the wall anymore. We communicate in different ways now, but only when it's safe, which means when Mom is out and Dad isn't listening. It's not Logan's fault that he was brought into this mess, and you can't blame something you broke for not running away. Tell me a story, I say, except that Logan isn't pretend. It's a memory we hide in plain sight. There once was a woman whose hair was made of plastic. He says, sometimes it was blue, sometimes it was pink, and sometimes it was both. I've heard this story before, but I don't mind because it's one of our favorites. The woman didn't know what she looked like anymore because she couldn't see, Logan says, but she was always happy when visitors came. The first time he told me the story, he cried and wouldn't tell me why. It was ages before I figured out that the woman was his great-granny, and the plastic in her hair was because she had curlers. It's a dangerous game. If Mom finds out, even now, I'm scared what might happen. But it's what we do to make things better. As well as the woman whose hair was made of plastic, there's the man who could bring anything to life and the lady who cried an ocean. I think the man is Logan's granddad, and I think the lady is his mom. Every time there are more clues, some spoken but most behind his eyes. He doesn't often talk about that woman, but I know the story by heart. She misses someone so much that she cries and cries until the distance between them is filled with her tears. She's so tired of crying that she falls asleep and is carried on the ocean she made. And when she wakes up, he's there, the boy I stole. I think it's supposed to be a happy story, but it always tears me apart because I'm the reason she cries. We all are. When Logan tells tales about his grandparents, I think about my own and wonder what might have been if they were still alive. Their absence made our secret so much easier to keep. Dad's parents died before I was born, and Granny and Grandpa are just faces in photos. I knew them, but not enough. The few friends Mom and Dad still had were easy to leave behind. I'm not sure how much Logan remembers is real. He's been here so long, and Mom has rewritten so much of his history that his memories are a mixture of truth, make-believe, and lies. But I'll keep his real memories, and the boy he was before us, alive however I can. 39. When Mom says we're moving, I don't believe her because it doesn't make sense. Moving means shaking the dust off our secrets, but she points to the house on the corner and says, it's a fresh start. And then when she sees the look I'm giving her, he's never going to properly forget until we leave this place. She means Logan, but I don't think moving is the solution. This place has some happy memories, but... Mom stops and there's a tear in the corner of her eye. She blinks it away, but not before I see what she used to look like. I loved her so much. I loved all of them. But that version of my mother is like watching an actress play a character you haven't seen in years. The but she can't speak is Will. It's the garden she never goes into and the fence painted a different shade of brown where the hole used to be. It's the flickers of memories we all get at certain moments of every day. Of Will bounding up the stairs or lying upside down on the sofa or laughing that beautiful, contagious, everywhere laugh. That's why Mom wants to move, and I get it. She wants a fresh start while all her memories will be of Logan, the boy who could never live up to my brother. That's how Dad finds the notes. He's off work sorting through my room while I'm at school, and when I'm home, he sits on my bed, pulls them out, and says, you shouldn't have done this, Amy. I'm sorry. If she finds out. Dad can't finish the sentence because he isn't sure what she'd do. Would she take it out on me or on him? Would she read the notes and remember, or would she burn them unopened? Mom is a mystery I wish I didn't have to solve every single day. What are you going to do with them? I ask, and Dad sighs. I'll keep them safe. Please don't throw them away. It's Dad's turn to cry now, and he doesn't stop like Mom did. He lets the tears fall on my duvet, then takes 2 deep breaths. I would never do that. He opens one and we read it together, then another, and we forget that at any moment Mom could come home. We don't care because we're with Will. I'm sorry, I say. I'll never not be sorry. Dad squeezes my hand. It wasn't your fault, Amy. All the words fall out of my world, leaving me to stare at him until he says, None of this, Will, Logan, is because of you. Don't ever forget that. I cry harder than I have in years because he sounds like he used to, when he promised me everything would be okay and he meant it. That's not a promise he can keep anymore, but Dad's hug is like a wall around me and I hope he never lets go. Mom said it was my fault over and over again, and Dad never argued. The proof was in his silence, but now I feel a sudden urge of strength. I look at the box of notes and wonder if Dad has his own hiding place. If things are hidden, if there are things he doesn't tell, if there are things he does that Mom will never know about, like the stories Logan tells that aren't really stories at all. If Mom finds the notes, Dad will suffer again, and I can't risk that. Last time she threatened to ruin him, and next time I'm terrified she will. When I realize what we have to do, something shatters inside. We have to burn them, I say. What? If you hide them for me and she finds them. I don't have to finish the sentence because Dad knows what would happen. I can make them disappear, he whispers. No, I say, I'll do it. In the garden, I lay the notes on the barbecue and set them on fire. If anyone found them, they'd know Logan isn't Will, and from there the pieces would fall quickly. We need to hide what we are or risk losing what's left. 40. The new house is too big, but maybe that's the point. Perhaps their secrets will keep growing, and the only way to hide them is to have more rooms and to keep them locked in. We couldn't move in right away, so we stayed in an Airbnb while the builders finished up. Mom wanted a new bathroom and every wall painted white except the new wall around the whole house that's made of bricks and spikes. It's supposed to make us feel safe, but it just makes us feel trapped. I hate it here because nothing reminds me of Will. He didn't draw on any of these walls or run around these rooms. We didn't cuddle in this living room, watch cartoons, or play in this garden before that last horrible time. This is a house without my brother, which is exactly what Mom wanted, but our fresh start already feels stale. Mostly I stay in my room and think about everything until my head hurts. I'm repeating a year at school because my grades dropped, and St. Gregory's doesn't put up with anything lower than a B. They've offered us a tour, and Mom said we should do it. One more attempt to look like a normal family. It's different from my old school, lighter and friendlier instead of red bricked and suffocating, and the teacher who meets us is super keen and cringy. Mrs. Pierce, he says, this is Tom. He'll be showing you around this morning. Mom smiles, squeezes my hand like a warning, and says, pleased to meet you.